Hello friends, welcome back. This is Madan again. Today we are going to learn how we can track database change events and push those events, those changes to our views automatically without refreshing the views. For that, I'm going to use SQL Server 2017 and SignalR. So before jumping into the code, I'm going to show you how the finished product will looks like. So here is our MVC application, which is displaying the list of product, and here is our database SQL database server and the product table. So whenever anyone make changes to this product table, then those changes will get reflected back to this view without doing any refresh or something. So let's change this product. So here we have a product name RAM, and let's change this to rom rom, and let's change the quantity as well. So I'm going to make this quantity 200, and whenever I hit save on this database here, so the RAM will be converted back to the ROM. So let's click on save, and here we see. And similarly, when someone deletes any rows in the product table, then that rows will get deleted from the view as well. So let's delete this pen drive, click and then edit, and then delete current row, and then let's click on save, and our row has removed from here. So I'm using the SQL server in Mac using Docker. So if you are interested in running Microsoft SQL server in your Mac, then you can use Docker and SQL server 2017. So let's jump into the code and build this. So let's go over to the terminal, and I'm going to close this server here, Control C, and then let's get out of this directory and create a new directory for our project. So mkdir dbchange, let's go over to this dbchange, and let's create a new project here, .net new MVC individual, and our project has been successfully created. And let's open this in Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to use SQL Server. So let's modify this project to use SQL Server instead of SQLite. Use SQL Server as, and now let's change the connection string and point that to our SQL Server. Server equal to localhost database equal to employee db user equal to sa password equal to password. Now let's create a model here. Let's create an employee table, and we'll watch the changes in employee. We'll watch the events that are generated while we modify data in employee table. So let's create a new class called employee.cs. Namespace dbchange dot models public class employee, and let's add few properties here just for the demo. ID string name, and then let's age of employee print age. Now we are going to create a corresponding table for this class. So let's go over to our data folder and application db context, and let's register it here from employees, and change. Let's correct the namespace for our employee class. Application db context. Let's bring the namespace here using dbchange dot models. Now let's remove the old migrations that were generated for the SQLite database for identity framework, Let's remove those migration, and now let's generate our new migration. So for that I'm going to open the terminal here and .NET .NET migrations add employee table, and let's update that migration .NET database update. Let's see those update in details with forward switch. And let's go over to the database and check if that database has been created or not. Refresh, and our employee DB has been created, and let's check the tables, and our employee table has also been created, and let's set this report database to active database. All right, now we are going to create a repository. So I'm going to create a new folder here, the SignalR repository, and let's create a interface repository.cs. Namespace db change repository interface, and let's define one method here. We are going to return list of employee from our database table. Get all employees. Using system.collections.generic for list, and let's create another class that implements this repository interface, and the class would be employee repository. In the namespace of db change dot repository public class employee repository inherits from employee repository. And since this is not showing the actual hints, I'm going to reload this window. Reload new command reload window. Still not giving any hints. Here it comes. So let's implement the interface. In the namespace for list as well, and for employees as well. Right, set this, and does not implement. Let's check. Let's bring in the namespace for employees here for the interface. The error should go away. Alright, now we are going to create a method that will fetch the data from our database table and register event handler for that table. For that, let's create a constructor here, employee repository, and here we are gonna get connection string from our app settings.json file. For that, I'm going to inject iConfiguration and let's bring in the namespace for this as well, and let's create a private variable, or let's just define variable for holding connection string. String equal to, initialize this to empty, and connection string equals configuration dot get connection string, and here we need to pass the name of the connection string, which is default connection. So let's copy this and then pass it here, default connection. So here we have got the connection string in this variable. Now we are going to use ADO.NET and use the class that is created in ADO.NET, which is called SQL dependency, to notify, to register for the notifications or the events that are generated from the database table. So for that we are going to create ADO. We are going to write a plain ADO.NET code. So it is using SQL CNN CTI connection, CNN equal to new SQL connection, and then we pass here connection string. Let's bring in the namespace for SQL connection, and then we are going to open the connection, and we are going to start the SQL dependency class, SQL dependency dot start, and we need to pass the connection string for that. So we need to use this class if we want to register to the events that are generated from the database table. Let's save this, and now we are going to create a command, SQL command. So string first, we need to create a SQL query. And the command text equals select. Now we are going to specify each fields in our select statement for this SQL dependency to work. So what fields we have? We have ID, name, and age. So we do select ID, name, age from dbo dot yes employees. So this is our command text. Now we are going to build the SQL command. SQL command cmd equals new SQL command, and for the we will be passing the command text and connection for the SQL command. And now we are going to create the SQL instance of the SQL dependency. SQL dependency dependency equal to new SQL dependency, and we need to pass cmd for this SQL dependency class constructor. And now we can register the event dependency dot unchange plus equal to new unchange event handler, and we are going to pass the name of the functions that we will be creating below, db change notification, and let's generate this function here. And for now let's just create a variable, and let's store the e here. So variable, let's say notification equals e dot, let's convert this to string. This does nothing, but we'll be using this to see if an event has been fired or not. So after that we need to loop over our, we need to create the SQL reader, SQL SQL data reader. Oops. Let's use the dynamic keyword here, variable reader equals cmd dot execute reader, and now we loop through the reader, and while reader dot read, let's create the list of employees here to hold the employee data from the database. So variable employees equals new list of employee. After that we create here employee variable employee equal to new employee, and we use object initializer syntax, and we pass id equals convert to int 32 reader, and we get id here, and we have a name equals reader name dot to string, and we have age equals convert dot to int 32 dear reader, and we pass the age, and we are going to add this employee to our collection here. So employees dot add, and add the employee here, and finally we need to return this employee, return employees. Now this should go over to the database, register the event handler using SQL dependency class, and gives us the list of the employees that we can display in our view. And let's put the breakpoint here, and go over to the database and change, make modifications into our database table and see if we get notification here or not. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here and breakpoint uh, somewhere here, and let's call this method from our controller as well. So first, for that we're gonna need to add service here for our repository. So services.add transient I employee repository to employee repository, and let's bring in the namespace. Now let's go over to our home controller and inject that repository here, controller I repository, and I'm going to create a private field here, and also bring in the namespace, and let's give it underscore for the private fields. Now let's call this method underscore repository. Now let's call the method of repository dot get all employees, so that we can hit breakpoints whenever our application loads. I'm gonna put breakpoint here as well, debug, and then start debugging. Our application has started and we hit the breakpoint here. So let's go over, and as long as whenever we pass this code, then we register the event handler to our database. So let's step over, step over, step over. So now we have registered event handler to our database. And now our event has been successfully registered. So whenever we go to our database and make any changes to that table, we should hit this breakpoint here. So let's go over to the database, and then let's select our table here, employee db and employee, and let's insert some data to our employee. So I'm gonna run first select star from employees. Let's execute this query, and we have no rows right now. And then let's insert some data here. So insert into employees, we have employee name and age, since the id is auto generated, and let's give it a name of Matt, and let's see, age of 20, and let's try to insert this, and we hit the breakpoint here. So this is for this demo, and we'll continue implementing this notification feature using SignalR, and we'll create our views to display data in our next demo. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.